Hey there, everybody. It's Saturday already. It's early Saturday morning. We're going to go over Friday and Saturday for college basketball, the March Madness bracket and tournaments, and the NBA algorithm, which I also updated today. We'll talk about some results. Looks like the Lakers game is almost over. It's almost over. We'll get to NBA afterward because it's almost over, and then we'll finish that off. Let's talk about college basketball first. We have finishing off of round one, 16 games, better day today than yesterday. Here 13-3 with Purdue getting knocked off. Is it 2 years in a row that a 16 seed has knocked off a number one seed? It's either two out of the last 3 years that's happened, and it had never happened before, if I remember correctly, or I believe it's 2 years in a row now. Fairleigh Dickinson, fairly good, and they're going to beat Purdue. So not too many people going to have that, given that they were a play-in team on top of that. I mean, wow, right? So here we have this just destroying brackets right here. I mean, wow. Fairleigh Dickinson actually going to win, even though the AI bracket had Purdue. So that was a big one. Everything else was pretty good. You have Iowa State losing to Pittsburgh, another play-in team. Play-in teams advancing quite nicely. And then USC, with a bad strength of schedule way down at the bottom, loses to Michigan State. So that's not all that unrealistic, given that they have the worst strength of schedule down here too. But Florida Atlantic wins a close one against Memphis, a little bit injured. So that the algorithm does pick off an underdog down there. So a better day. Your bracket is still a disaster. We're 22-10. Is that right? I thought there were 32 games so far. So 22-10, not excellent. But it's been a very, very tumultuous round one. So let's talk about round two then. Let's look at tomorrow, right? The Saturday, really Saturday the 18th, which is today actually. So I brought in the odds and let's take a look. So let's see what we got here. Basically, looks like on Saturday, Southern Utah over North Alabama. What a weird. Are those two teams that are even in the tournament? Is that happening? Southern Utah in here? It doesn't even sound familiar. Really? Southern. Let's look in the values. It doesn't sound like those teams are in this tournament. Southern California. Yeah, no, Southern Utah, that's like an NIT game or something. So I don't have the odds for every game. Yeah, I do probably. This is more than 8 games. The NCAA tournament games, let's go off the top of our head. Alabama and Maryland's going to be one. UCLA Northwestern's going to be one. Houston and Auburn's going to be one. Texas and Penn State's going to be one. Missouri and Princeton's going to be one. San Diego Furman, Kansas, Arkansas, Tennessee Duke. And is Michigan Vanderbilt one of them? I don't think so. It's just Michigan State, which won actually against USC. So looks like the games that are tournament games, when I should say tournament, I mean NCAA March Madness tournament, are the games I just mentioned, but we'll look at all the games on this list just because we can. So we have some injuries with Houston. So Houston might get knocked off by Auburn. That could happen, even though they're an extremely good team because they've got these injuries here. And UCLA has injuries, but they're a really good team, and Northwestern came in. So be careful with these injuries here. Some really good picks are going to be, wow, I think Tennessee beats Duke. Duke has been playing well since they got completely healthy. So I understand why this is an underdog line down here of plus 140 for Tennessee. And see, it's a close game, difficult game. The lines are pretty much in order with the algorithm, with the exception of this underdog. And this is, I guess, an NIT game or something like that, Michigan and Vanderbilt. So, and Michigan's a little injured, so that's also tough. So the best thing on here might be Cincinnati over Hofstra, which is not a March Madness game, but it's probably another tournament game. And then you've got Texas over Penn State. Penn State's been overachieving this tournament so far. And that's basically the look. So when we look back at the bracket, the algorithm originally had all these teams. They're red because we don't have a result yet. So we don't know who's going to win these games, other than we know the algorithm had Arizona, and both these teams are gone. It's Princeton against Missouri in this game, right? Yikes. All right, so that's the look at college basketball. Where's that Princeton, Missouri? It's right here. Both these teams a little injured. Missouri has showed that injury number in the last game and had no problem with what was it, Southern Utah, right? Or Utah Valley or whoever they played, Utah something, or Boise State, whoever it was, they beat when they were still injured. All right, so that's the look at college basketball for Saturday. Let's go over to NBA, see if we have a final score on the Mavericks game. Oh my goodness, the Mavericks have won. They came back to win 111 to 110. Goodness gracious. This is the first time I ran the the NBA algorithm in a long time. Got a computer working. Another computer blew up. So the hackers blew up one of the computers, but one of them's still working. So we were able to get that in there. So the Lakers do not win. The Mavericks come back. A lot of injuries in here. This wasn't a bad day. I actually was able to wager on some games and did pretty well with this today. Celtics had no problem. Memphis came back late, down 9 points with a minute left to win this game in overtime. That was excellent. I saw them on the top of this list, and that worked out really well. Pelicans lose a late win to the Rockets, but they did have some injuries here. Cavs beat the Wizards. Lakers just amazingly blow into the Mavericks late. And you can see this was the pick of the day was Atlanta over Golden State because of Golden State's persistent injuries with Curry out and some other people out. So that was all right. And this was supposed to be an extremely close game. And it went to, I believe, double overtime where the Bulls ended up winning that game. So NBA algorithm continues. It does pretty good things. Let's take a look at tomorrow. There aren't lines for every game yet. But we can see where everything's supposed to line up based on the algorithm's predictions for Saturday. So if you're looking at NBA, it does have Memphis over Golden State, probably heavy injuries on both. Celtics over the Jazz. We don't know what those lines are yet, though. Then you have the Sixers over the Pacers, which is only minus 250 with this injury number, if that's accurate. We'll see what the injury report looks like tomorrow. It's not actually a bad line for a game with that high of a margin here at 10%. And then the Bulls over the Heat, that's an underdog line, healthy Bulls. Clippers over the Magic, line not excellent. Sacramento over the Wizards. And you can see that we have the Raptors Timberwolves game way down here, and they're minus 295. So that would say take the Timberwolves plus 7.5 because it's an extremely close game. And the odds makers think it's not supposed to be a close game. So that's what the NBA algorithm is saying there. And this is about accurate with the Nuggets over the Knicks at minus 125, but really close margin. So what NBA is basically saying is that the Bulls have a chance to win this game at an underdog. The Sixers are really supposed to win, and that's almost a reasonable line for this type of game up here. And Kings over the Wizards, but it's barely, though. It's actually not great. Timberwolves plus 7.5. And that's about it until we see what these lines are. These lines are probably going to be pretty bad. Actually, Golden State doesn't always have bad lines because they do sometimes play well. So we'll see what that looks like tomorrow. But that's the basketball update. I did not run hockey. I've been delayed on all the algorithm work, so I didn't run hockey. And I haven't looked into baseball yet. Let's ask Google when the baseball season starts. When does the opening day of baseball 2023 happen, Google? Thursday, March 30th. That gives us 12 days from now. So we will get something up and we will get the MLB algorithm at least started. I definitely won't be doing it every day, but we'll get it started for the new year and take a look at what happens there. All right. So that's the update for early Saturday morning, review of Friday. I hope your college basketball and March Madness has been a good time. It's certainly, I mean, you can expect the bracket to be crazy. No matter how much we try to predict these numbers, it's always a mess every year. But boy, if you had Purdue going down to Fairleigh Dickinson, you should pat yourself on the back because 99% of entrants are not going to have that happening. 99.9% entrants are not going to have that happening. And then you know your big huge underdogs winning in Princeton, and what else is crazy? Pittsburgh's a pretty big underdog winning here. The West is the only bracket that's kind of reasonable. And that Boise State was actually an underdog against Northwestern. And you can see this is one where the algorithm got this wrong. Basically, the odds makers or the bracket makers did a little better putting Northwestern up there. This is the only one that's almost perfect. And boy, Purdue going down, man. Wow. My alma mater loses to Marquette, unfortunately, but they did make the turn. All right, guys. Good luck, everyone. I hope your picks won today, and I hope they continue to be winning.